So what the point I'm trying to make is there's good reason to copyright your songs. And it's easy, and it's not that expensive. So here's what you need to know about copywriting, is that for every song there are two completely different sets of rights. There's a right in the song, and there's the right in the recording. That's a completely different copyright. And sometimes people get confused about that, but think about that. Let's suppose you want to, cover a Kanye song. And you make a recording. Obviously, you don't own the song. He owns the song. His publishing company owns the song, but you own the recording. But if you record something that you've written, you own both rights, but it's a completely different set of rights. But here's the nice thing about a federal copyright, is that you can bundle like a whole bunch of songs and a whole bunch of recordings into one application, one session on the computer, one $35 fee. And as long as you own everything, I don't even know if there's a limit to how many songs and recordings you can do in one application. Maybe it's like hundreds, if you got hundreds of songs. But the only thing you got to know is it's got to be exactly the same person or people that own all the rights. Otherwise, you can't bundle it. One interesting thing to know is that if you sell your copyright to somebody else, you can get it back in 35 years. Which sounds like a long time, and it is a long time, but it's a lot less than your lifetime plus 7 years. So songs that came out in 1980, for example, big hits, where the writers sold their publishing, sometimes for not very much money because they didn't have any bargaining power, they can get their copyrights back.
You say can get, so they have to.
They have to do it. There's stuff you gotta file the right forms. You gotta do it on time.
And they just have the right to get it back. Just when the other people fight it, saying
exactly. And there's a fight.
Learn more about that.
There's a fight right now about whether you can get your copyright to your recordings back, not just your songs. The record companies are fighting that, but they're probably going to lose.
So, even though they funded the recordings?
Even though they funded the recordings. 35 is great. Looks like you get that.
That's true.
Okay, so I'm going to get an email saying that it's done, and I'll just forward it on to you. And then you'll get probably like 2 to 3 weeks, a month, something like that. You're going to get a certificate from that.
Oh, cool.
Yoo-hoo! So that's how you copyright. Boy, it's hard these days. Because people don't buy records anymore.
You got to throw a lot of money behind yourself.
Yeah.
Your record label, you got to throw a lot of money behind.
Yeah, and there's not that much coming back. That's the problem. The problem isn't that, in a lot of ways, it's certainly cheaper to make records than it was 20 years ago. It used to be really expensive. You wanted to make a good sounding record, you had to go to a fancy studio and pay, several $100, maybe $1,000 a day. Pro Tools didn't exist. All that stuff was expensive. Distribution was really expensive. You can make good sounding records now for very little money. You can get distribution for next to nothing. The problem is the marketing. And the problem is that people don't buy records the way they used to.
And you're right about that, because I have looked back at the whole aspects of records going platinum. You know what I'm saying? From back in the days to where our records went like triple platinum. You know what I'm saying? You feel me?
Yeah.
They need a diamond because, and I know it's now because of the technology or whatnot, but it's still like people are still not buying it. So like, if an artist nowadays go platinum or whatnot,
it's a big deal.
You know what I'm saying? It's a big deal. But like back in the days or whatnot, artists is like 112, Biggie, you know what I'm saying? Tupac, all them, they was doing like
crazy sales.
You know what I'm saying?
Crazy sales.
Yeah, man, and that's crazy. Because I was looking back at some stuff like 65 million records just off this record. Like,
the music's got to be fabulous, or you got to, not just good, but really, really good. Or you got to have a name somehow, or you just got to have a fan somehow who works for an advertising agency. Sometimes it's really weird. Artists will get calls from some advertising agency offering a lot of money. And how the hell do you know I existed? Well, my friend played me with music and I really liked it.
PeaceTones.